AITA for ending things after my girlfriend's girls trip revealed a man in her hotel mirror. My name is Jack. I'm 34, and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, where my biggest weekday excitement is usually deciding whether I'm making coffee at home or wasting $6 at the place downstairs from my office. I work in commercial insurance, which sounds more dramatic than it is. For the last 4 years, my life had been built around my girlfriend, Lauren. We didn't live together officially, but that was mostly a technicality. She had a toothbrush at my apartment, half a drawer in my bedroom, and her dog's leash hanging by my front door like he paid rent. We had a shared Costco membership, which started as a joke and turned into very real arguments about whether two people needed that much paper towels. We had a Zillow folder full of houses we were just looking at, even though I had a ring bookmarked in my browser and a jeweler appointment quietly sitting on my calendar. I wasn't some guy who hated commitment. I wanted the boring, steady kind of life where you know what side of the couch belongs to you and what kind of creamer someone wants before they ask. Lauren used to say she loved that about me. You make life feel calm, she told me one time, sitting cross-legged on my kitchen floor while her dog chewed the corner of a moving box I hadn't bothered unpacking. I believed her. Lauren was 31. She was sharp, funny, and polished in a way I never was. Her apartment always looked like it belonged in the background of a lifestyle ad. Mine looked like a man with concert posters, and an old sectional had tried his best. Somehow it worked. She made the plans. I made the coffee. She picked the restaurants. I remembered when her car registration was due. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were building something real. The months before Miami had been rough on her. Her company went through layoffs. Even though she kept her job, she came out of it different. Tired. Snappier. Sometimes she would sit on my couch scrolling silently while I made dinner, and when I asked if she was okay, she would say she just needed 2 days where nobody needed anything from her. So when she told me Maya, Aaron, and 2 other friends wanted to do a weekend in Miami, I encouraged it. Go, I said, standing in her kitchen while she stared at hotel prices on her phone. Seriously, you deserve it. She looked up at me like she wanted to believe I meant it. You're not going to be weird about it? Why would I be weird about it? I don't know. Some guys get weird. I'm not some guys. That line stayed with me later. Not because it was clever, but because I meant it so badly. The trip became a whole production. The girls' group chat was apparently chaos. They changed hotels twice, debated between Brickell and South Beach, and complained about how expensive everything was. Lauren's old suitcase had a broken wheel, so I bought her a new carry-on from Target. It was one of those hard-shell ones that looks more expensive than it is. She laughed when I handed it to her. You're spoiling me. It's a suitcase, Lauren. It's still sweet. The room rate went up after one of the girls backed out of sharing, and Lauren was stressed about it. I sent her $200 and told her not to think about it. She protested for about 30 seconds, then sent me a heart emoji and wrote, "You're the best." On Friday afternoon, I drove her to RDU. The drop-off lane was packed, hazard lights blinking behind us. Someone honking like that would make TSA move faster. Lauren seemed distracted. She was tapping her phone while I pulled her suitcase out of the trunk. "Call me when you check in," I said. "Of course." She kissed me quickly. Too quickly, I thought, but then I hated myself for noticing. She was trying not to miss her flight. That was all. "Have fun," I told her. "Don't answer work emails." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'll try." I watched her roll the new suitcase through the sliding doors, the tag still stiff and flat from the store. I remember feeling proud of myself for being supportive. That sounds foolish now, but I really did. That night, around 10, I was on my couch eating leftover Thai food straight from the container when Lauren posted her first Instagram story from the hotel. I almost smiled when I saw it. Clean white bed, Miami lights through the window, her bare feet at the edge of the frame. The caption said, "Finally breathing." Then I noticed the drinks. 2 cocktails sat on the little table by the window. Not a big deal. Women drink cocktails. Friends share rooms. Then I noticed something beside one of them. A watch. A men's watch. Dark band, big face. Not proof of anything. Not even close. But my eyes moved to the mirror behind the bed, the kind hotels put up to make rooms look bigger. There was a reflection in the corner of it. A partial shape. Broad shoulder. Dark shirt. A man standing too close to the bed. I stared at it until my food went cold. Then I did what I promised myself I wouldn't do. I pinched the screen open with 2 fingers and zoomed in as much as I could. The reflection didn't get clearer. It didn't need to. I texted Lauren. "Who's in the room with you?" The typing dots appeared almost immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Wow. I stared at that one word like it had weight. I wrote back. "I'm asking because I can see someone in the mirror." A minute passed. "Are you serious right now?" I took a breath before responding. I wasn't trying to fight. I wasn't trying to be that guy. "I'm not accusing you of anything. I just asked who it is." Her reply came fast. "Stop being insecure. I'm here with the girls." I read my own texts again, looking for where I had sounded unreasonable. Maybe asking who was in the room was too direct. Maybe I should have said it looked fun and asked who made it. Maybe I had already failed some invisible trust test. "Sorry," I typed. "It just looked weird. Have fun." She didn't answer. I went to bed, but I didn't sleep. At 2:17 a.m., I was still awake, staring at the screenshot I had taken before the story disappeared. I felt pathetic. I kept telling myself there were probably men in the hallway, men from the hotel staff, men who were friends of friends. Miami was full of men. The existence of one in a mirror did not mean my girlfriend had betrayed me. But her response did something the reflection hadn't. It made my stomach tight. She hadn't said it was Maya's cousin. She hadn't said some guy from the lobby brought drinks. She went straight to calling me insecure. Saturday morning, she texted, "Morning. Recovering from last night. Going to brunch." No heart. No joke. No picture of the food, which was unlike her. I wrote, "Hope you're having fun." She liked the message but didn't reply. Around noon, my friend Ryan called to ask if I wanted to watch the game that night. Ryan had known me since college and could hear my mood through a single hello. "What happened?" he asked. "Nothing." "Great. So something happened." I told him about the story, trying to make it sound casual. He didn't interrupt. "Do not fly to Miami," he said when I finished. I wasn't going to fly to Miami. You say that now. I'm saying it before your brain starts writing a movie scene. I'm not being unreasonable. I know. That's why I'm telling you not to do anything irrational. Don't send angry texts. Don't call the hotel. Don't make yourself the story. Let the facts be the story. I hated how much I needed to hear that. A few hours later, a mutual friend named Nate sent me a screenshot from Aaron's story. His message read, "Isn't this the place Lauren said was impossible to get into? Miami looks expensive as hell." It was a rooftop bar with glass walls, crowded tables, and overpriced drinks glowing under blue lighting. Lauren was sitting beside a man I didn't recognize, shoulder to shoulder. Her head was tilted back, laughing like he had said something only she understood. His hand was near the back of her chair. Maya was half in the frame, almost blocking him, but not enough. I zoomed in. Same dark shirt, same build. And when I clicked through the tiny tag names on Aaron's story, I found him. Derek. His profile was public enough. He was 35. From Tampa. Lots of travel photos. Boats. Rooftops. The phrase "good vibes only" was in his bio, which should be considered a warning label. I texted Lauren again, carefully. "Who's Derek?" This time she took 8 minutes. "He's literally just a friend of a friend. We met up for one drink." "You're making it weird." I sat at my kitchen table with the TV on mute and typed 3 different responses before sending one. "You told me you were just with the girls." "I am with the girls." "He knows Maya." That was the first time Maya's name showed up as a shield. Maya had always been polite to me, but not warm. She was Lauren's closest friend, the kind who showed up with wine and opinions. I knew she thought I was a little too settled, too suburban, too ready for a mortgage. Once at brunch, when Lauren mentioned the houses we had been looking at, Maya had told her not to let Zillow become a personality. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because what else do you do? Saturday night got worse. Lauren and I shared locations on Find My. Not because we were tracking each other, but because it was convenient. She used it when I picked up food. I used it when she was running late. It had never been a thing. At 8:43 p.m., her location went unavailable. I texted, "Your location disappeared. Everything okay? My battery's been weird. Relax." I looked at my phone battery out of habit, as if that mattered. Then I hated myself again. At 10:15, I asked if we could FaceTime for 2 minutes before she went out. We usually did that when one of us was traveling. It wasn't romantic so much as routine. "Can't video. Wi-Fi is trash," she wrote. 6 minutes later, she posted a story from a club with a perfect signal. The caption read, "Night 1 did not disappoint. I watched it 3 times. Music pounding. Lights flashing. Lauren was dancing with Aaron and another girl. Maya was holding the phone. On the edge of the frame, barely there, a man's hand touched Lauren's lower back, guiding her through the crowd. There was a black ring on his index finger. I screen recorded it because my hands were already shaking, and I didn't trust the story to stay up. It was gone within 5 minutes. That was when suspicion stopped feeling like suspicion. I called Ryan again. "Tell me I'm not losing my mind," I said. He was quiet for a second. "What do you have?" "That sounds unbelievable." "No, it sounds like you need to separate feelings from facts. What do you actually have?" So I told him. The hotel mirror. The watch. The rooftop screenshot. Derek. The location. The FaceTime excuse. The deleted story. Ryan exhaled. "Okay, don't confront her while she's there." "Why?" "Because if you do, she gets to say you ruined her trip and she never has to answer the details. Collect everything. Time. Source. What she said. What contradicted it. You want me to make a file? I want you to protect yourself from manipulation." That always sounded dramatic to me until I was sitting alone in my apartment, trying to convince myself a man in a mirror was just my insecurity. So I made a folder on my laptop and called it Miami Timeline. The second I typed it, I felt sick. It looked like a work presentation, except the client was my own humiliation. I saved the screenshots, screen recordings, texts, times. I wrote down what Lauren said, and when she said it, I already knew she would make the conversation about my tone if I didn't keep it anchored. Then Venmo gave me the next piece. Lauren's transactions were public because she never cared about that stuff. I searched Derek's first name, and there it was. A payment between them from earlier that day. Derek paid Lauren. The note said, "Boat thing LOL." I clicked his profile picture. It was the same man from the rooftop. Same black ring. Random friends of friends do not usually send boat money to your girlfriend on a trip you helped pay for. I didn't text Lauren. I wanted to. My thumb hovered over her name for a full minute. But Ryan's voice was in my head telling me not to make myself the story. Sunday morning, a hotel confirmation email landed in a shared household inbox Lauren and I used for boring things. Dog grooming appointments. Travel plans. Utility estimates for houses we toured. She had once used my laptop to book a weekend in Asheville, and the email forwarding apparently never got cleaned up. The subject line was from the Miami hotel. At first, I thought it was just the receipt. Then I opened it and saw a modification history. The reservation had been changed 2 weeks before the trip. Guest pass added. Check-in note updated, arriving separately. Room preference adjusted. I stared at the date longer than the words. 2 weeks before she ever mentioned the trip to me as a real plan. Not a random guy at a bar. Not someone they bumped into. Not a friend of a friend who happened to be around. Planned. My apartment felt too quiet. The old sectional, the coffee table with takeout containers, the half-filled moving box Lauren kept teasing me about, the dog leash by the door from the last time she brought him over. All of it looked suddenly staged, like the set of a life someone had been using while auditioning for another one. I texted Aaron. "I'm not mad at you. I'm asking because I need one honest answer. Was Derek random, or did Lauren know he'd be there before Miami?" She didn't reply for almost an hour. Then she answered, "Jack, I don't want to get in the middle." That answered more than she meant it to. I wrote back, "I'm already in the middle. I just didn't know there were more people there." Another 20 minutes passed. Then my phone rang. Aaron sounded nervous. "I thought she told you he was coming around." "I swear I didn't know you didn't know." I closed my eyes. What does that mean? She knew him from that travel group. The one for cheap flights and stuff. They've been talking for a while. How long is a while? I don't know exactly. Months. Aaron. She sighed. Like 6 months, maybe. Maya knew more than I did. 6 months. Lauren had mentioned that group. She said it was just for cheap flights, hotel deals, and travel tips. I remembered her laughing at her phone one night in bed and saying those people were obsessive about points. I had kissed her shoulder and gone back to watching highlights. Aaron kept talking, maybe because once she started, she couldn't stop. Maya told us not to tag him because she said it would cause drama. I thought that meant you were sensitive about guy friends or something. I didn't know she was hiding the whole thing. Was he staying at the hotel? I don't think in the room. I don't know. He was around. Boat thing, dinner, rooftop. Maya kept saying Lauren deserved to know what else was out there before she locked herself into a house and a ring. There it was. The house. The ring. The future I thought we were building had been a thing they discussed like a cage. I thanked Erin. She started crying, which made me feel worse somehow. I'm not lying for this, she said. I posted a story, not a sworn statement. I know. After we hung up, I added her messages to the folder. By Sunday night, Lauren's texts turned sweet again. Miss you. Flight lands tomorrow at 11:20. Can you pick me up? I stared at that message for a long time. A part of me wanted to say no. A part of me wanted to show up at baggage claim with every screenshot printed out like someone who had lost control. Instead, I wrote, yeah, I'll be there. But Monday morning, she texted that Maya was driving her home from the airport after all. That was probably better. I didn't trust myself in a car with her. Not because I would yell, but because I might ask one question and let her rewrite 10 answers before we even hit I-40. She came to my apartment around 4. The new carry-on rolled in behind her, the Miami luggage tag still looped around the handle. She looked tired, sun-kissed, and irritated. Not guilty. Irritated. We need to talk, she said, dropping her purse on my chair like she still lived there. I almost laughed. Yeah, I said. We do. She crossed her arms. You made me feel guilty the entire weekend. Do you know how exhausting that is? I couldn't even relax because every time I checked my phone, there was another suspicious little question. I looked at her and realized she had rehearsed this. Maybe on the plane. Maybe with Maya. Maybe in Derek's messages. I asked who was in your room, I said. And who Derek was. You were monitoring me. No. I was noticing things you posted. Her eyes sharpened. You see? That tone. Like you caught me committing a crime because I had a drink with people. I walked to my TV and connected my laptop with an HDMI cable. My hands were calm in a way the rest of me wasn't. What are you doing? She asked. I'm not going to debate your tone. I'm going to show you the order things happened in. She blinked. Are you kidding me? No. The first slide filled the TV. Her hotel story. The 2 cocktails. The watch. The mirror reflection circled in red. She laughed once, hard and fake. You made slides. I made a timeline. That is unbelievable. Maybe. But this is what I asked about, and this is what you said. I clicked to the next slide. Her text, stop being insecure. I'm here with the girls. Lauren looked away. I clicked again. Erin's rooftop story. Derek beside her. His hand near her chair. You said he was a friend of a friend, I said. He is. Next slide. Derek's Venmo profile. The boat payment. Boat thing LOL. Random wondering friends don't usually split boat plans. Her jaw tightened. You went through my Venmo? It's public. That doesn't make it normal. No, none of this is normal. I clicked again. Location unavailable. Her battery excuse. Then the club story posted minutes later. I wasn't in the mood to FaceTime while you were acting like that, she said. That would have been a more honest answer than bad Wi-Fi. You don't get to police how I communicate on vacation. I nodded once. You're right. I don't. I do get to decide what I believe when the communication is lies. Next slide. The deleted story. The man's hand on her lower back. The black ring. Her face changed then. Not confession. Calculation. You saved my stories? She asked quietly. You posted them. You screen recorded me. You deleted it after 5 minutes. Because I knew you'd react like this. I let that sit between us. Then I clicked to the hotel email. Lauren's eyes moved across the screen. Reservation modification. Guest pass added. Arriving separately. 2 weeks before she told me the trip was happening. The room went silent except for the low hum of my air conditioner. You said he was random, I said. The hotel note was changed 2 weeks before you told me the trip existed. She swallowed. That doesn't mean what you think it means. What does it mean? Maya was handling hotel stuff. Did Maya also handle your 6 months of messages with Derek? Her head snapped toward me. I clicked to the last slide, Erin's text. I thought she told you he was coming around. Maya told us not to tag him. Travel group. 6 months. Explore before settling down. Lauren's eyes filled with tears, but I didn't know what kind they were. Sadness. Anger. Fear of being caught. Maybe all of it. You talked to Erin? She said. She talked to me. That's private. No, I said. You don't get to call it privacy only after the lie gets caught. She stood up from the couch. You went through my life like a detective, and now you want to act calm. I was trying to trust you, Lauren. You were trying to manage what I could see. That's not fair. What part? Nothing physical happened. There it was. The sentence she had probably saved as her emergency exit. For a second, my calm cracked. I felt heat in my chest and behind my eyes. It wasn't loud, just sharp. You keep defending the smallest part because you know you can't defend the rest. She wiped under one eye. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd react like this. No. You didn't tell me because if you said you wanted me to help pay for a Miami trip where you were going to meet a guy you had been privately talking to for 6 months, I would have had enough self-respect to say no. She flinched. I walked to the kitchen table. Her spare key was already there. So was the printed boarding pass she had texted me Friday morning. I set the little warranty tag from the carry-on beside them. I don't know why. It felt petty and sad at the same time. You didn't take a girl's trip, I said. You took a test drive for a life without me. So keep going. Jack. No. Can we please just talk without all this evidence like I'm on trial? We talked for 4 years. This is the first conversation where you can't edit the room. She started crying harder then. I was scared. Of what? Of everything moving so fast. The house, the ring, all of it. I almost softened. Almost. Because fear would have been something we could talk about. Fear would have been human. But then I looked at the TV, still showing the hotel modification date. You could have told me you were scared. I know. You could have asked for space. I know. You let me drive you to the airport. You let me buy the suitcase. You let me send hotel money. I messed up. No. You planned. That was the difference. Messing up is one bad decision in a moment. This had a calendar, a group chat, a hotel note, a woman helping crop a man out of photos, and 6 months of emotional rehearsal. Lauren called Maya from my hallway. I heard fragments. He made a whole presentation. No, he talked to Aaron. I don't know what she told him. Then Maya's voice came through the phone, sharp enough that I could hear it from the kitchen. He was always too intense. Lauren looked at me like she wanted me to prove her wrong by losing control. I didn't. I just said, take your things. She packed in angry bursts. Toothbrush, hoodie, face wash, the phone charger she always forgot. She paused at the dog leash by the door, and for 1 second her face crumpled in a way that actually looked real. He loves you, she said. That one hurt more than I expected. I love him too, I said. That doesn't change this. She left with the suitcase. I bought her bumping against the doorframe. I thought I would feel triumphant. I didn't. I sat on the floor by the couch and stared at the blank TV until the screen went dark. The fallout started that night. Lauren didn't send one big message to everyone. She was smarter than that. She told the story in pieces. I was insecure. I monitored her. I saved her stories. I embarrassed her after she got home. By Tuesday morning, I had 3 mutual friends texting versions of how they heard things got bad. I didn't send screenshots. Not at first. I wasn't interested in turning my breakup into a group project. Then Erin apparently hit her limit. In the group chat I had muted months earlier because it was mostly brunch plans and memes, she wrote, I'm not lying for this. Jack wasn't tracking anybody. Lauren told him it was a girl's trip, and Derek was planned before we got there. Maya told people not to tag him because it would cause drama. Maya replied almost immediately. He was just around. It wasn't that serious. Erin wrote back, then why hide him? No one answered for a while. After that, the friend group split in the quiet, awkward way adults split. People didn't pick teams out loud. They just stopped inviting certain combinations of people to the same trivia nights. Lauren's mother called me Thursday. I almost didn't answer, but I had known her for 4 years. I had fixed her porch light once. She sent me banana bread every Christmas. Jack, she said, sounding tired and disappointed. I think you're throwing away a lot over jealousy. I leaned against my kitchen counter and looked at the empty hook where the dog leash had been. I'm not discussing the relationship with you. She said nothing happened. I'm sure she did. 4 years is a long time. I respected your daughter for 4 years, I said. I'm going to respect myself now. She went quiet. I'm sorry, she said finally, but I didn't know what she was apologizing for. That night, Derek messaged me on Instagram. Nothing happened, man. You're making this bigger than it was. I stared at his profile picture. He was smiling on some boat like every man who says good vibes while stepping into someone else's relationship. I didn't answer. He sent another message. She told me you guys were basically done. That was almost funny. Another version of me, edited for another audience. I replied once. Then you can have the version of her that told you that. Then I blocked him. Lauren texted constantly for the first few days. I miss you. Can we talk without the anger? You're punishing me for being confused. Please don't throw us away. I didn't know how to tell you I felt trapped. Some messages made me angry. Some made me sad. One almost got me. It said, I keep reaching for my phone to send you stupid things, and then I remember you hate me. I typed a whole response to that. I deleted it. Typed again. Deleted that too. I didn't hate her. That was part of the problem. Hate would have made it cleaner. A week after she came home, I saw by accident that Lauren and Derek had followed each other again. I hadn't gone looking for it. A suggested post put his profile in front of me like the internet wanted to twist the knife. My first instinct was to click. Check his stories. Check hers. See if they were together, if Miami had become something, if he had been worth it. I put the phone face down on the coffee table. I didn't need another screenshot to understand the ending. I blocked both of them. The practical stuff took longer than the breakup itself. I changed my streaming passwords, canceled the jeweler appointment, deleted the Zillow folder, returned 2 unopened moving boxes I had bought when I thought Lauren might officially move in by the end of summer. I took her name off the Costco account and stood in the parking lot afterward feeling ridiculous because that was the errand that finally made me cry. Letting go wasn't dramatic. Mostly, it felt like cleaning. Her spare key stayed on my table for 3 days before I mailed it back with the last of her things. I found one of her earrings under my bed, a receipt from the night we celebrated her promotion, a sticky note on my fridge where she had written for me not to forget eggs. Those things hurt more than the mirror. The mirror was betrayal. The little things were evidence that the relationship had been real at least some of the time, which somehow made it worse. Because the deepest damage wasn't that Lauren wanted someone else. People get confused. People get scared. People realize the future in front of them isn't the one they want. The damage was that she built a version of our life where I was steady enough to comfort her, useful enough to support her, and disposable enough to lie to. For weeks, I kept catching myself questioning old memories. When she laughed at her phone in bed, was it him? When she said she needed space, did she mean from stress or from me? When she talked about houses, was she picturing our future or practicing how to resent it? I don't know. That's the part that stayed with me. Not that she left. Not even that another man was in Miami. It was realizing I had been living inside a relationship Lauren edited for me, and I mistook the clean version for the truth. I still make coffee at home most mornings. Sometimes I waste $6 downstairs because I feel like it. My apartment is quieter now. The couch is still old. The concert posters are still crooked. The moving box is finally gone. And when something feels wrong, I don't immediately call it insecurity anymore. Sometimes your gut isn't trying to ruin your peace. Sometimes it's trying to show you the reflection someone forgot to crop out. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.